Joining me in studio is Yuri. He is the artist behind the McCartney Years, a McCartney tribute artist playing Studio Hamilton Place this Friday night. And welcome to the show, Yuri. Nice to see you, man.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me.
We were just talking about the fact that we both have Dutch roots.
Yes,
yours
we do.
much fresher than mine. You came over to live permanently here about 3 years ago.
That's correct. Yeah.
And when did you start performing as a McCartney tribute artist? Was it back in Holland?
Well, I've been playing the Beatles music since I was 11 years old. I got my very first guitar from my mom when I was 11. But the McCartney Years have been going for about 3 years now.
Okay.
And it came out of a production that I was in England. Back in England, I was in the Beatles production with the whole look-alike thing, and the left-handed bass and the woos and the and the ahs and
stuff.
And I started the McCartney Years about 3 years ago here in Canada, just wanting to do something more than just Beatles. So yeah, we cover everything from Beatles to Wings.
Oh, okay. So you go right. Well, the McCartney Years, you go right
Yeah.
through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because a lot of people sort of get a little bit lost in what McCartney was able to do beyond the Beatles, and everybody knows of Wings, but I don't know that people understand how successful Wings were. How many gold records and how many #1 hits, and I mean it really is a phenomenal library of music you have to play with.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, when I started writing the show, the McCartney Years, I thought, you know what, we're only going to play the hits. So I wrote down the hits, Beatles and Wings and his solo career, and I ended up with a 6-hour show. And I can't do that. He's going to sit around for 6 hours. But
Silly Love Songs itself takes about a half hour to play, so that's a nice lengthy one. So then you have to start paring it down, and that's hard, right? When you're working with a master like McCartney's catalog of music, sort of trying to decide what to throw out. That's not easy.
Oh, no. In fact, I mean, every show we still get people... even before the show, people are emailing me before the show. I just had an email just a couple of days ago from a man in Michigan and said, "Hey, do you guys do some of the obscure stuff?" And he named a couple of songs. And the thing is, they're all great songs. It's just that you have to choose which ones to play. And I mean, we rotate from show to show to try and cover everything we can. So I suppose someone could see the show 5 times and get, different songs, but this is about McCartney's career. I mean, it's so huge, and there's just so many songs that we can do that, and it's amazing to tap into a catalog that big.
We've all heard the songs, but you really are looking at them in depth. Was there a great change in the way McCartney sort of created his songs that you've noticed through the Beatles years, through the Wings years? Were there significant changes?
Oh yes, they were. When the Beatles started out, they wrote their songs always with the thought that they were going to perform them live.
Right. Which they didn't get a chance to do very much, did they?
Well, they could barely hear themselves.
I know,
obviously. But so up until around 1966, when they had their last concert in August 1966, when they stopped touring, they were writing their songs with the intention to play live. And then when John Lennon became tired of doing live concerts for the obvious reasons, and the band being like that, John always referring to being in the eye of the hurricane, where everything else around him was very stormy, and right in the heart it was quiet. It just became too much, and after that period, that transitional period, they started writing songs in the studio, and that's when they developed albums like Sgt. Pepper's, the White Album. Abbey Road is a fantastic album. And even towards the end, I mean, a song like Maybe I'm Amazed that McCartney actually intended for Abbey Road ended up on his first album. So you see there's all these transitions into a next album. But I find that McCartney in particular, especially after the Beatles, it was almost as if a weight lifted off his shoulders, and he spent time in his farm in England in the early 70s and wrote some fantastic songs. And I feel like when I listen to his music and see some of the interviews that he did around that time, it's almost like, okay, all this stress just got off his shoulders and just started doing again what he was good at.
And it really does, when you start thinking about the Wings catalog, I mean, there was, it did seem to take on a more positive approach, and the songs were, there were certainly lots of songs that were light and positive and fun to play, and you can hear your biggest fan. You brought your biggest fan with you. That's your son, Julian. He's getting a little upset. He wants to hear Dad play a song. You know what? We're going to do that. Yuri is with us. Yuri Poole. He is of the McCartney years, and they are playing Studio Hamilton Place this Friday night. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back a little more with Yuri, and then we'll get him to lay one on us, as it were.